Hey Shooby Doodlers, how are you doing? Well, last weekend I was watching a programme with J.K. Rowling showing these old magic books, and they had pictures of mandrakes in them, which I thought were rather fun. And I've been doing lots of Halloween stuff, and so I was drawing. I thought I'll draw you a mandrake. Why not? I know I've been asked many times to draw Harry Potter stuff, and never done it. So a mandrake is a root. It's a kind of root vegetable-y kind of thing, but I don't think anybody really eats it. I don't know. It's very much thought of for medicinal purposes. So we're going to want this, and they hate being pulled out of the ground. Okay, this is the whole thing about mandrakes. So because they have all these sort of extra, this the normal kind of body of the root coming down, but they have these extra little side roots coming out, and they kind of look like arms and legs and things, and so they've kind of, in history and lore and whatever, they've kind of built up this kind of thing that they're actually human. So they're called mandrakes because they're the man, you see. And in these old books that you'll find these kind of medieval naked men in with sort of leaves growing out of their heads, something sort of cute about them. So I thought this is what I will do today, just for a bit of fun. And I suppose some people are wondering, where have I been? Because I haven't been doing videos much recently. Well, I've been doing videos on Draw Stuff Real Easy quite a lot, and especially this week I've been doing quite a lot of Halloween videos on there. And I think I've very much kind of decided that's kind of what I'm going to do, is very much kind of younger, how to draw specific things, like how to draw stuff, basically. I'll be doing on Draw Stuff Real Easy. And here on the Shoo Rayner drawing channel, then I'm going to be doing much more kind of longer videos when I have time, and I haven't had much time recently. I've seen from my recent uploads that I went to the States in September, and I got so jet lagged. Coming home again, I hate it. I really do. I'm not a good traveller, and but you just had to get on with it, don't you? So I got back home, and I went off to the Wigtown Book Festival, which I love going to. I've been going there so long now that it's like going home to see family now, and it's just wonderful to go and meet up with everybody and gossip and chinwag. And I couldn't go for the whole week this time because I was coming back from the States, and so I missed some people, it was kind of different. And then I went over to Hull, which is on the other side of the country, and I've been visiting schools there, and been up to London visiting a school. And then the last little while I have been chained to my desk making books, staring at my computer screen. I'm starting to think where I'm going to have this. So I'm going to have a kind of a thumb there. Why have I been making books? Well, I think there's quite. I've made a lot of books in my time. And when I go visiting schools, and I kind of reach into my bag, a lot of children will come into a hall and I think, I really want to tell them this story, and I reach into my bag and I can't really, because that book is unavailable, and however much I want to tell them the story, I need to promote books that they can actually buy and get hold of, and or even from the library. I don't mind where they get them from, but I want them to feel inspired and think, I love that story, I want to read more in that series. And then if they can't get it, then it's defeating the object of the whole exercise. So a lot of those stories that I really, really love are actually out of print now, which makes it really, really difficult. So I've got the rights back from my publishers now. for some of my books, and so I'm publishing them myself, which is a lot easier these days with the internet and being able to upload to printers and things like that. And also you don't need to have thousands of copies weighing down your loft. You can just have, you can buy one at a time if you want. You can just print them as you go. So that's what I've been doing, and I've been doing 2 of my favourite series. I've been putting them together as 3-book bind-ups, because normally they're kind of 48 pages, and I find people think that there's not quite enough value with just 48 pages, so I'm giving 3 books in one, which just kind of looks like more value, really. And then, interestingly, a few weeks ago I got contacted by some people called Archie's Place in America, and they are going around to schools and things promoting Archimedes and all his inventions and pie and levers and things like that. And so last year I went to a school and they were having a Eureka Day. That's Archimedes, the guy who said Eureka. And they asked if I'd come and do something at their Eureka Day, and I dressed up as Archimedes. and I wrote a little thing, because as I started researching about Archimedes, I got really quite captivated by him. I'm just going to do that slightly differently there, I think. And I thought of a way of telling the story of Archimedes and his inventions very simply. And so I did that, and I made 100 copies for the school, and that was all fun. And then I kind of forgot about it, and then this place, Archie's Place, got in touch, and I said, "Oh, would you like to have a look at this story?" And they said, "That's great, we could really use that." So I've been redesigning that and getting that up to scratch. So I'm kind of thinking about, well, maybe I can do. I'm actually thinking now of sort of doing a whole series of, because I've done another one on Euclid. If you go to Draw Stuff Real Easy, you'll find Euclid videos over there. And so now I'm thinking maybe, and I've redone Euclid as well, my Euclid book. So now I'm thinking I'm going to do some videos about Archimedes on Draw Stuff Real Easy. But I kind of branded them as a series called Mega Minds. So now I'm thinking of doing some others as well. I think Isaac Newton and Einstein and Ada Lovelace and Marie Curie. And so that's kind of a plan at the moment. But anyway, I also had an email recently from Carla, who asked if I would, she's an art student, asked could I tell her about my process. Well, I had to ask her what that meant, really. So she just meant how I go about things. And so I said, well, it'll just take me forever to type that, so I'm going to make a video for her. But one of the things that's made me realise, while I was thinking about what to say in that video, is that while I'm designing books, I have my designer hat on, and so while I'm doing that, I'm not writing new stories. I stopped kind of being an author and an illustrator in my head somehow, because I'm doing this. I'm making books. I'm in designer mode, and I think that's something about being a professional illustrator, artist. I think it's I don't know. I suppose it's why some people have agents. I can't work with an agent. I have tried, and I suppose it's good to have an agent who just does all that stuff for you, and I suppose publishers do all that stuff for you as well, which I'm sort of taking on myself, all that publishing stuff. And so I suppose it's really nice to just have one hat. But it isn't quite that. Well, I suppose, yeah, because I've also been doing kind of year-end accounts and things like that. So you have to then put your accounting hat on. And I suppose you could just hand it all over to an accountant and just say to him, I don't want to be part of this world. Take it all away. I just want to draw. So, yeah, I suppose that would be nice, but I think I'm too much of a control freak to let go. I think that's probably what it is. So let's think about these leaves. I'm just hitting my lamp. So I'm thinking that these are going to be coming out that way. I'm going to have that sort of, I'll have it coming down behind there like that. And that can kind of come there. That can come there. Oh, I can bring that down around there. And then we might have another one which goes there. So, hats. Yeah, it's all about wearing hats. And I think, it's a common thing, I think, that when you, they always say, do what you love. And you make a business out of it, which is very true, but suddenly it becomes something else. Because you gotta do stuff, you gotta meet the bills, and it doesn't become a chore, but it becomes something different, I think is what it is. Now, I'm not going to put veins in there because I'm not going to do that with the paint. So I'm going to bring that like that. That will come that way, and I put a vein in there, I think, and yes, there we go. So we can put a vein in the underside, so that would be coming down there. Good. So there we go, and interesting, I thought when I started doing this, I've done other versions of this already. That was the first one. I was using dip pen, and then that was in sepia, and then I just thought, this is terrible. And this is part of process, I suppose, is get good at one thing. And I thought, I'll just try and do it with dip pen. But you need to spend years really developing that dip pen technique. And whereas, when I think about it, I spent years developing this rotary tachygraphic technique. So, why? So I thought, no, go to what I know best. And I think that's something to always be aware of. So I'm going to kind of do another one coming around the back there. Maybe another one. You can see there. Good. Made sure that's completely dry. Hair dried it. So I made sure it's completely dry so I can erase all those pencil lines. And I think I need some more little marks to give it that kind of curviness, like, as you get on a turnip or something like that. And then we might put some little texture marks in there as well. I think that's about all I'm going to do. And then now I'm going to use my lovely rosemary brushes. You can I'll try and remember to put a link to my rosemary brushes video. And I know you so often see me use a water brush, but I'm kind of rather got into these brushes now, and I'm using my trusty old set of water paints. So these are Winsor & Newton artist quality, whereas I think you generally see me using, when I go out sketching, then I use Cotman, which are kind of a grade down from from their artist quality. There's generally not that much difference, I don't suppose. Somebody actually asked me about it the other day, and they said, what's the point of spending more? And I think really the reason that you buy the artist quality is for their light fastness. So if you're a watercolour painter and you're doing a painting that's going to be stuck on the wall, then you obviously don't want the light, the colours to fade, do you? So you pay extra for sort of quality pigments, that's the word I'm looking for, that aren't going to fade. But of course, if you're an illustrator, once you've done your illustration and scanned it, it's just going to sit in a drawer somewhere. It doesn't really matter, does it? So I think, in my sketching tin, I have a kind of a mixture of artists and Cotman colours. I just kind of found colours that I just generally like, I suppose. And so I'm going to make our hero a kind of an ochre colour. I'm going to have some ochre going up into the stalks as well, I think. I might leave a little bit of white just at the top of the bottom eyelid thing there. And just a little bit on the lip there. So this week I've been doing quite a lot of Halloween videos on Draw Stuff Real Easy, which I'm fairly committed to now as a kind of an elementary school drawing thing. And I know grown-ups watch it too, grown-ups and beginners, but very much in my head I'm doing it for elementary kids, really, elementary and primary school as we call them here in Britain. And I think a lot of adults enjoy doing them because that's kind of when they stop drawing, and it's like they're kind of picking up from where they left off. And so I'm very committed on there, and I think on this channel it's going to be much more kind of these long chatty videos now, and just sort of changing who they're for. So I'm sort of imagining that people watching this are a little bit older, I think, than they're going to be secondary and above. Quite a lot, I know. Grandparents and retired and whatever. More grown up, shall I say. I think that's probably the way to put it. Now I'm going to fill that in. This is quite a large brush for me, and normally I kind of use kind of small brushes. But I'm being bold and making myself, I suppose, be a little more painterly. And so I think we're going to want to have... there's too much on the brush there, I think. I'm going to make these a bit darker behind there. I think it's probably entirely the wrong colour. Because I haven't done any painting for weeks, and you get out of the habit. So what am I going to do? I'm going to just do kind of something like that, and then bring it back the other way on the top leaf, so that will come out that way and then back that way. Right, bring that. So sort of coming in, and that's going out. It's coming in. I love reading the comments on these kind of videos. Some people say, for goodness sake, will you just shut up? And other people say, oh, I only watch your videos to hear you talking. Which is a bit weird, isn't it? So that must be coming that way. So quite often people watch these videos not to learn how to draw at all, but to just hear me rabbiting on. So what else can I tell you? Well, now, yes, so yeah, last night I finished doing all my books. So I really felt like, yeah, end of term, kind of like party time. But I gotta get on with other things, so I gotta put on my author hat again. And but so yeah, so tomorrow I'm going up to London, and I'm taking over as the chair of the Children's Writers and Illustrators group at the Society of Authors. And these are interesting times in publishing, so it's quite an interesting time to be taking over. And so that will be taking up some of my time. There's another hat to wear. And then there's another project that are coming along called the Empathy Lab, which I'm working with. At least I hope to be working with. We're trying to get some funding at the moment. And we feel there's just kind of not enough empathy in the world at the moment, and how social media is making us feel less empathic. And Miranda McKinney, who sort of started it, has been doing some research and finding that by reading improves empathy, and improves reading skills at the same time. It's a win-win-win situation all around. So I'm kind of getting involved with that because I think it's a worthwhile cause to have a go at and have a think about. And what else? Yeah, so there's all that going on. And then I got a new novel I've got to write. I'm still waiting for my publisher to send me a contract. They've written 3 chapters or something like that, and they like it, but I've got so many other things to do. I'm not committing myself to finishing writing it until I get the contract, which is how it goes. So it's business as well, isn't it? I've been watching a series on the TV, a BBC series about Nile Rodgers, who's the guitar player in Chic, and which has been very interesting. It's been called How to Survive in the Music Business, and there's a lot of commonality between how to survive in the music business and how to survive in the art business as well. And it's all about constantly reinventing yourself. It's about constantly reinventing yourself, but at the same time staying true to who you are, which is really difficult. So yeah, and I think that's kind of like, where I kind of thought, oh yeah, I should do this in dip pen, but no, I shouldn't do it in dip pen. I should do it in what I'm good at and get better at, and just stick with the thing that really speaks to me. So I mean, he's still playing the same Fender Stratocaster he bought 50 years ago. No, not quite that long ago, but anyway, a long time ago, 40 years ago. And he's stuck with that instrument, and he knows it inside out, and I'm sure it's had extra bits added to it and things along the way, but little improvements and attachments and things, but he's grown with it and it's grown with him. So I'm moving to a smaller brush, and I'm mixing a bit of this as warm yellow. It's not warm yellow at all. I can't remember what it's called, this green. So to get these kind of veins coming from the middle. So what more can I tell you? Mandrakes. This is a strange thing. Whenever I think of mandrakes, there's a place that I always remember. When I was a young lad, and we would go to scout camp once a year. But to prepare for it, we would have a weekend scout camp. And I think it was, to get the newbies up to speed and knowing how to put a tent up and that kind of thing, and just get used to the idea of having a weekend away from home, I suppose. And there was a field that we used to go in, and then on the edge of the field it was all a bit wild as it kind of went into the woods where we would all go off. Can you believe it? We were all kind of 10, 11-year-olds with axes and sheath knives, hacking down stuff in the woods. I don't think they would allow it now somehow. It's a shame. I don't remember anybody getting hurt. Anyway, so in this corner of this field, I remember somebody, I think we must have had some new scout master who was into wild things or something. And I remember him finding something, I don't know what it was, some wild parsnips or something like that. And saying, oh, we can eat these, and putting them up. And somehow I always have that kind of in my head muddled up with mandrakes. And so when anybody mentions mandrakes, I have this image of pulling up these plants, and I can sort of hear them screaming as well, because that's always the thing about mandrakes, is that they scream when you pull them out of the earth. They do not want it to be done to them. And these leaves are rubbish. I don't think I got time to really do justice to them. Or rather, I don't think I can do the leaves and talk at the same time. I think that's always a big problem with these videos. So I think I'm going to finish this off with a crayon, as I would call it, with a coloured pencil. I'm always being told off for calling them crayons. We used to call them crayons when I was a child, and it's very hard to get out of that habit, really. You need that to be a bit darker in there. And then I think I might just kind of add a little bit of ochre here and there, just to kind of add a bit of depth to the whole thing, and a bit more under there maybe, and adding a bit of texture too, I think, like that. So I suppose this is now becoming what you would call mixed media. I think I'm just going to add a bit of darkness, a bit more darkness in there. There's a kind of purpley darkness maybe underneath there. And there you go. I'm going to leave it at that. How to draw a screaming mandrake. Thanks for watching, and you can support this channel and get so much more on my Patreon page. Click to find out more. Make sure you are subscribed to the Shoo Rayner Drawing channel on YouTube, and in the meantime, keep drawing, practice, and I'll see you next time. You take care now. Bye bye.